What's going on, everybody? My name is Ben and welcome back to the bench for another episode of Ben Builds with Joe and the F4D-1 Skyray. Today we're going to go ahead and finish up this kit. I'm super excited. We have a lot to do. So as you can see, the aircraft is very shiny right now. We have overcoated it with gloss coat, but we need to go ahead and overcoat the decals now with another gloss coat just to make sure we don't destroy them when we start doing our weathering. Now last time I did go ahead and put all the decals on and we've added in some extra details here and there. Decals went on perfectly. No problem there, but again, I want to go ahead and seal them up with another coat of Future before I get into the actual weathering. We also have to work on fixing up and weathering down the drop tanks, the missiles. We need to go ahead and get the rudder attached, get the gun barrels attached. We have a lot of other little things left to do, but I don't think it's anything too crazy. On this rudder, I'm going to go ahead and glue it into place, I think, and then we're going to go ahead and install like the gun barrels and some other detail parts before I go ahead and overcoat it with gloss coat. I just want to make sure that everything is as uniform of a covering as possible. Then we can come back after that dries, we can start doing some weathering with our AK panel liners. And I'm pretty sure I'm just going to use the panel liners as a sludge wash. That worked last time, so hopefully this is going to work just as fine this time around. Then of course, once we have everything kind of lined up, I'm going to use my references here and we're going to make sure that we have our rudder positioned pretty close to what we have in the picture. Go ahead and pop our canopy open at some point towards the end of the video when we're all finished up, and I think we'll be looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and jump in here. Got a lot of work to do. Let's go ahead and get those detail parts all nicely installed, get that gloss coat on there, and finally do some weathering. Let's have some fun, guys. Let's get this finished up. Alright everybody, so we are back, and as you can see I've got my references out here and we are looking for really good shots of the undersurface and of weathering. I want to go ahead and add in some oil streaks, I want to add in some powders, I want to go ahead and really get some detail all weathered up here, so I think that's our next step, and then after that is all finished up we can just overcoat it with a nice semi-gloss coat. And I think we'll be ready to go ahead and unmask the canopy and then pose everything in the finished order. So I'm very excited to go ahead and get this thing finished up. Let's go ahead and jump in there. We need to get those missiles installed, detail painted up, get that streaking, get the powders done, get everything sealed up, and we'll be back with a finished F4D-1 Skyray. Almost there, guys. Just a few more steps left to go. Alright, after 10 episodes, guys, we have finally finished up this awesome little Skyray kit, and I'm super excited to go ahead and show you guys what we came up with. I gotta tell you, this has been one of my favorite seasons yet. So let's go ahead and grab the Skyray, and I'll show you what we came up with. And here it is, the finished 1/48 scale Tamiya F4D-1 Skyray. Such a beautiful, beautiful little aircraft. I gotta tell you, I had a blast building this one. There are a couple of things here and there that I could have done differently, but overall, I like how this has turned out. Such a fun and awesome kit, guys. I had a blast with this one. I really did. And the fact that I got to build along with my buddy Joe, always a pleasure. Really awesome, awesome stuff. Now, overall, this is a Tamiya build, and you know Tamiya, they have beautiful, beautiful parts that fit together extremely well. I didn't really have any issues with fit. I did take a couple of steps to make sure I didn't have any gaps in the wings, and I made sure that we added a little bit of extra detail here and there. But for the most part, the kit itself was pretty solid. It was a really, really good build. As you can see, I did do a little bit of detail work there to recap there in the cockpit. I did add some seat belts and some oxygen hoses. I did use my different references to streak a few panels here and there. I didn't like, however, the fact that we had a couple of decals that were missing. Otherwise, everything else was really, really solid. I tried to keep the aircraft dirty, but not necessarily too dirty. So I wanted to go ahead and just add in a little bit more dirt and grime here and there. A lot of the Skyrays had some dirt and filth along the wing walks. I tried to add those in with a little bit of weathering powder, just kind of stippled it there along the different walks. And I think that actually turned out to be decent enough. It's not perfect, but I think it's going to pass. I did end up adding in 2 of the tensioners right there on the canopy on the inside. That was not easy to do. It's not really that noticeable, but if you get in and look closely, you can see them. So I think it's a good update. Now on the undersurface of the aircraft, I had a few little foibles here and there. I did install those missiles and the nav pack and the drop tanks, but I did not install the wingtip rocket pods. I left those off. I thought that with the missiles and the nav pack and the drop tanks, it's probably decent enough. I did install the guns, even though more than likely those would have been deleted. I think it looks kind of cool. Of course, for my references, I did end up positioning the top of the rudder off to the right-hand side. I think that's a pretty cool little effect. rest. And of course, I raised the rear wing extensions in the uppers position. Now, if you compare this to my reference photos, you'll see that this is actually much dirtier than what I have in my references for this exact aircraft. Just wanted to add something more, something unique. So I streaked a couple of panels based on another reference shot I did. I added in more of the dirt and grime on the wing walks per another reference that I saw of a different aircraft. Plus, these aircraft are such a unique design anyway, I figured, why not? Let's just have fun with it. I also, of course, left on the mid-air refueling probe there on the left-hand drop tank. I'm pretty sure that would have been deleted off of this particular version, but I just want to leave it on to give it a little bit of nice asymmetric detail, and I think overall it's a decent look. It looks pretty neat. Now, if we compare that to my original Skyray that I showed you guys back on episode number 1, you can see there is a big difference between weathered and non-weathered. Just something about the weathered version versus the unweathered version, it's got so much more character. It's got more of an interesting look to it. I think far more fun and more realistic. So yeah, it's not perfect, but I honestly had a blast building it, and I'm so happy that I was able to get Joe to come along with me on this journey and build something from the Cold War. I know he typically doesn't really build much Cold War, but hopefully now, after this, he might jump in on a few more. But that is it, guys. We are done. We have nothing more left to do here on the Skyray. I'm going to go ahead and pop this into the display case and start working on figuring out what else I want to build. I know Joe and I have a couple of ideas for some upcoming build series, hoping those work out. Make sure to go over to Joe's channel, check out his Skyray. I'm not sure if he's posted the finished product just yet, but I've seen some pictures of it and it looks awesome. So make sure to give him a thumbs up, drop a subscription if you haven't subscribed already, and then maybe give him a comment or two. So until our next episode, guys, you know the drill. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool, and we'll see you back here on the next episode of Ben Builds for an entirely new project. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Take care, and we'll see you soon.